Okay, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you may be watching this. Um, this is our second video of the week, and again, I'm not going to get into anything real. Actually, I'm not going to get into anything detailed at all about the next essay, which is going to be problem solution. I will go over that next week, starting on Monday and Tuesday's classes. I'll have that ready for you. I'm just about finished with grading the first drafts of the SA2 that I've received. So there are some things that I do feel the need to go over concerning the essays just in general. It doesn't matter if it's the first essay, second essay, third, fourth, it doesn't matter, just the essays in general. Um, Now, I guess this may or may not matter because what I'm talking about in these videos, I think there's quite a few people who are not watching them, and or I think I can't. I think that there are quite a few people that aren't watching them because far too many of SA2 are written almost entirely in second person, and I thought I made it very, very clear that you are not to use second person in these videos. I mean, in these essays, unless someone is speaking to someone else, unless it is dialogue, which is more than one person, someone talking to someone else in quotation marks. You are, through the quotation marks, illustrating what they are saying. So I've already done this before, I believe, but I'll do it again. He said, quote, and now notice that I put a capital W, even though it's part of the same sentence, I put a capital W on the word what. Because the dialogue, even though it's within the sentence, is in essence a new sentence that the person speaking is making. However, it's treated as part of the same sentence because it is dialogue. What are you saying? And that's a question. So there you go. That's when you would use second person you, because one person, this person, he, or we can just say, Bill. Bill said, what are you talking about? Bill is the person saying that, and Bill is talking to someone else, so it would be natural. You see what I'm saying? It would be natural for Bill to say, what are you talking about? If Bill was talking to Sally, he would not say, Bill said, what is Sally saying? If he was talking to Sally, he wouldn't phrase it like that. If he was talking to someone else and asking that other person what Sally is saying, then he would phrase it like that. So by using third person or first person in dialogue, it causes confusion. You know, he would say, what are you saying to the person that he's directing that question to? So in the general text of the essays, don't use second person. And I'm not talking about for the first essay, the second, unless it's dialogue for this class. Okay, there are times that I talked about already in advertising and things like that. There are occasions where the audience and the purpose will make second person the logical choice or the better choice. However, for these essays that you're writing for this class, do not use second person. It's not the way to go. But the amount of essays that I've gotten for SA2 so far, I'm still not finished with all of them. But you will have them by Friday. That I can promise you. Makes me think that well, not a lot, but that some of you are not watching the videos at all, period, not watching anything. And I can also see on D2L, I can see when you guys log in, when the last time you log in, I can tell you that's how I'm taking attendance. So I know who's actually watching the videos and who isn't. And then of course there's the YouTube counts. Hey, waiting on my little trophy. I'm kidding, of course. So watch the videos, y'all. This is our class. Okay, you can if they bore you, if you do not like them, I'm sorry. I'm genuinely sorry. That I don't like that. However, if we were having face-to-face classes, you would be bored and not liking it sitting in a classroom that you had to drive through or drive to. So think about it like that. At least you don't have to drive up to GGC to do it. But the bottom line is that it's important, and I'm going over things that are important for this class. Okay, so with that little rant out of the way, let's just move on to the next thing. So with your essays, when y'all are, now the rough drafts are rough drafts. That's why we call them rough drafts. But when you're going over your final drafts after you get my comments and suggestions back, when you read your essays, when you're doing what we would refer to as a final edit, when you're getting it ready to turn it in and say, hey, this is it, this is my last hurrah, I got to get it as good as possible here. What I advise, and this is what I do, but with my own personal, when I'm writing, I read what I write to myself out loud. I read it aloud. Now that might be embarrassing. Actually, for me, it is embarrassing. I've had to read in public a couple of stories that I wrote, and I hated doing it. If it's for somebody else's stuff, I'll read somebody else's stuff all day long, no problem at all. But when I'm reading one of my stories or something out in front of a crowd, I do not like it. But read it to yourself. Read it out loud. I promise you that you will catch far more mistakes and simple. If y'all are looking at your drafts and you see where I type in, oops, forgot how to type. If I write in hasty error in the little bubble boxes outside, what I mean by that is that that's a mistake that you didn't make that mistake because you don't know any better. You made that mistake because you're just trying to, and I understand this, trust me. Oh, do I understand this? You just want to get it done. You want to turn it in. You want to move away. I know that. I promise you I know that intimately. I get very anxious. I get very antsy. I get a little, my concentration goes a little when I am nearing the end of anything that I'm writing. And these aren't assignments. I don't have written assignments anymore at all unless somebody's paying me to write something, and then I get even more antsy because I'm not writing it for me, I'm writing it for someone else. And then I get crazy nervous and anxious. And the closer I get to being finished, the more nervous, the more anxious I get. So I truly understand if that's how y'all feel, but you got to get it done, but you have to try to get it done with as good of a finished form as you can. So when you're doing your editing, your revising, and your final editing, read it out loud. You will catch so many little mistakes, so many little hasty errors. A lot of times you just leave little words out, especially like a, an, and the. It's easy. I do it all the time. Instead of saying he jumped into the car and took off, I might just be typing and say he jumped into car, took off. And I'll read it out. And when I read it to myself, just in my head, I'm less likely to catch that because I know those little words are supposed to be there. And you do too when you're reading your own writing. You know those little words are supposed to be there. So it's easy for your brain to just throw them in there. It's easy for your mind to make them appear when they're not actually there. But if you read aloud, you actually have to say the word, you're more likely to catch it. Or if you misspell a word, you are far more likely to catch a misspelled word if you read it out loud because, again, our brains will do autocorrect. Our brains are really smart, y'all. Our brains are smarter than our bodies are, that's for sure. And your mind will make those little autocorrects. If you have a couple of vowels in the wrong order or within a word, our mind knows that THEIR shouldn't be THIER, and it flips it. It mentally flips it a lot of the time, and it self-corrects. If you have to actually say it and pronounce it, you might go, whoa, oh, okay, boop, boop, flip them around. You'll catch that stuff. So when you're proofreading and editing, read it out loud. If it makes you feel embarrassed, I know it makes me feel embarrassed doing it too. Find a quiet place if you can. I have a wife and 2 kids, so it's hard to find. I understand that. It's hard to find private, quiet place, but do it. You gotta just, I don't. What's the one refuge where we can go when we need a little privacy? The bathroom. Go into the bathroom, turn that stupid little fan on if you got one, sit down, read your paper out loud. You will catch a whole lot more mistakes by doing that. So that's the main thing that I wanted to talk about for today, is proofreading and editing. Get these things as close as possible. Now, with this second essay, there were more than there were enough of them using "you will do this," you, yours, you, that after a certain amount of time, I just started highlighting them. I fixed them for the first page and a half, 2 pages for most of you, but after, if there's too many, I just started highlighting them in yellow. So if you see that, fix it, change it to either first or third person. And I went over how to do that. I showed you guys those examples, and so concentrate on that. Now, if you don't know from your other classes, midterm grades are due very soon, and I've already got them up. Now, midterm grades are on Banner, okay? The grades, I'm having a lot of trouble with D2L getting the grades to calculate correctly, so I'm not even going to do that, because using my grading scale, D2L was either showing your grade almost, it was even though I put in the right little things, it was showing your grade inaccurately, and generally it was showing it lower than it should be. So I don't want you to get on D2L and look at your grade and go, what is this? Because it was not calculating correctly. I have your correct current grade on Banner right now. So you go to Banner, the same thing you go to the same place you go to register, and you go to your courses and you look at the thing that says midterm grades, you click on it, it should show all your classes. Now these aren't due yet, so don't expect all your other classes to have them up there yet. But I've already went ahead and put them up there because there's not going to be any new grades coming out before they're due. Look at what your current grade is. Remember, we have 50% of the essays done at this point without the revision for SA2. So take that into consideration. Remember, if you got a C or even a D or whatever on your first draft of this SA2, you can still, it's possible for it still to become an A, which would drastically, hugely improve whatever grade is up on Banner right now if you have a low grade with the revision. Now, there are a very small number of students in each class, which they're probably not going to watch this anyway, so I don't know why I'm even addressing it, but there is a very small number of students who have turned in exactly 0 assignments so far. They're not going to pass the class. It's not mathematically not possible at this point. If you have a 0 at the midterm, you're not going to pass. So that's going to lead me to my next segment that I want to cover. Okay, look at the syllabus and look at the academic calendar to find out the withdrawal date. Now, I'm going to make this very clear from the start. I will not advise any of you individually on whether or not you should withdraw from my course or any course. That is the job of an advisor. I am not an advisor. The school does not authorize me to do this. In fact, the school will look down heavily upon me if I do this. So if you ask me straight up if you should withdraw from this class, I will tell you I don't know. That's your choice. I will not individually tell you whether or not you should withdraw from a course. That should be your decision. And if you want to talk to your advisor, they can help you come to an educated decision on whether or not you should. What I will do is explain what a withdrawal from a course is in general terms. In other words, I am not talking to any specific student. I am talking to all students. Here's how withdrawals work, okay? Each course has a certain amount of attempts that a student is allowed to make before that student goes on academic probation. All right. Now, I'm not going to quote the exact numbers because it's different for every course, and I'm not sure I remember exactly what it is for English 1101, but you can find all this in the catalog. If you register for a course and you drop it during the add drop phase, which is usually the first 5 days of the semester, if you drop a course, you were never in that course. It means you never even registered for it. So that doesn't count as an attempt. It doesn't count for anything. Okay, so if you drop the course, just forget about it. That means nothing. That has no negative impact. That has no positive impact. It's a flat line. Once the add drop period is over, your next option is to withdraw from a course. Now the deadline for withdrawals is coming up soon. So look at the exact date. I have it on the syllabus, and it's also on the academic calendar. If you withdraw from a course, what happens is it counts as an attempt. You're not going to get any money back. So if you think that you withdraw from a course, you're going to get a refund, you're not. You paid for this course, the money's gone. A withdrawal does not do anything to your bank account. However, if you withdraw from a course, it counts as an attempt, but in my opinion, the only benefit of withdrawing is it does not affect your grade point average. Okay? So it will count as an attempt, but it will not affect your grade point average. So if you have some kind of a scholarship, whatever it is that requires a minimum GPA, withdrawing from a course will not positively or negatively affect it. It has no effect on it whatsoever. Now, this is my personal strategy, okay? If I were a student or when I was a student, here are the reasons why I would consider withdrawing from a course. If I knew that at the midterm that mathematically I had no chance of passing that class, I had 0 chance of passing it. There was a 100% chance that I was going to fail. Even if I did everything else from then on out and got 100 or an A or whatever on it, I cannot pass the class. In that case, I personally would withdraw from that course because my GPA was the most important thing to me when it came to my college transcripts. Okay? Failing a course has a huge impact on your GPA, especially if you're a first-year student. And if you're a first semester student, boom, it blows your GPA up in a negative way, not blowing up like as in making it awesome. So that's the only time that I would ever consider withdrawing from a course, me personally. Now, you can look at your midterm grade and determine whether or not you should withdraw from the course or try to tough it out. But that's ultimately up to you. As I said, there are a very, very small number of students right now who have exactly 0 chance of passing this course. But that's up to them to contact me personally and directly. However, most of you are not in that boat. The overwhelming majority of you are not in that boat. So I just want to let you know what a withdrawal means. It means you have attempted that course, but you withdrew from it for whatever reason you chose to, and it will not affect your GPA. All right? Now, however, if you're only taking 4 classes and you need to be full-time for some kind of a scholarship or something, and you withdraw from a course and you're no longer full-time, that may have an effect. I can't say for certain because I'm not a registrar and I don't do scholarships. But I believe that could have an effect on your scholarship status. In other words, if you go from full-time to part-time, if you drop from 4 courses to 3, and you're getting some sort of scholarship, that scholarship might want some money back from you. But I can't say anything certain about that. I just want you to be aware that that's a possibility. So those are the only occasions when I would personally, if I were the student, those are the only times when I would withdraw. Now, there is something that's also known as it's also known as a hardship withdrawal. Now, a hardship withdrawal is something that I have no authority over. I have no bearing on it as the instructor. You have to go to whoever's in for this course, you'd have to go to the School of Liberal Arts and talk to someone up there. And they can decide whether or not to grant you what's known as a hardship withdrawal, and that can be for any number of reasons. Let's say if it's for a health problem, a family emergency, generally something that's beyond your control. You know, let's say, I don't want to give examples because they're all bad things and I don't like to talk about bad things, but if there's some sort of family emergency, a personal emergency, something, God forbid, to do with your health or something like that, then you can get what's called a hardship withdrawal. But that's all way above my pay grade and my status at the school. You have to go directly to whatever department or school it is and talk to the person in charge up there. But those are your options. So we are at the midterm. You all do not have a midterm exam, which I'm sure you're really upset about. If we were face-to-face, you all would have an in-class midterm. So maybe you might consider that a good thing or a bad thing. But since we're doing it this way, there's no midterm. You've got the 4 essays, and those are the bulk of your grade. So keep working on them. Keep checking your GGC inboxes for my comments and suggestions for draft 1. And I will post this on D2L under announcements, but revisions will be due by next Friday, which let me see if I can. Okay, so next Friday will be the 9th. So by next Friday the 9th, Essay 2 revisions will be due for everybody. That's for all classes. All right, you have until next Friday at 11:59 p.m. And I can see the timestamps and all that to get the revisions back to me. Now, some of you have already sent revisions, so you're way ahead of the game. But keep all this in mind, and y'all have been doing really good so far. Keep it up, okay? You're, I guess, technically halfway there. So keep going, don't give up. And again, you can call me, you can text me, you can email me. I'm here. I will answer your questions as best as I can. If I don't know the answer, I will find it. All right? So y'all take care, and I will see you next time.